Hello, good evening, and thanks again for another edition of Ideas Exchange. Today is December 7. In 2 years by this time, many people would have been looking straight into the figures before them or tracking how election results are being announced. And I can tell you that by this time in 2024, December 7, some people may begin to decide to go on the streets to jubilate because the trend of events may suggest that they may be winning or losing the election. But what is very significant about the next general elections for me is that lessons have been learnt by all parties. They are putting down notes, they are revising their strategies, and of course 2024 will be very crucial, especially when the incumbent government is scheming and trying its best to retain itself by handing over to whoever succeeds Nana Akufo-Addo. At the same time, we have the largest opposition party, which strongly believes that the tide has turned already and there is no stone to be left unturned, and they strongly believe that they will protect the ballot at the polling stations and not at the courts. These narratives have been made public. But tonight, our conversation is just about one of the aspects of what the NDC would describe as preparations towards the 2024 elections. The NDC has decided for some part of the strategy they are trying to put together to be unfolded. And by description, I am suggesting that they have finished their branch elections, their constituency elections, their regional elections, and this weekend, they are beginning the process of electing national executives. So this Saturday at the University of Cape Coast, the main auditorium, the NDC machinery will be converging there to elect their youth and women organizers. And then a week after, that is December 17, Accra may be turned into the colors of NDC around the Accra Sports Stadium, where they will then elect all the other executives from the national chairman to the general secretary, Zongo caucus, communication, national executive committee members, and so on and so forth. So tonight, I have one of those who are managing this process with me in the studio to talk about the NDC, the elections, issues that are arising, the competitiveness of the elections, and the fear among some party members because of uncertainties, and what the party is trying to communicate to their members across board. But like the NDC would do at its event, they always herald it with what they call their anthem. And so for those of you who have followed the NDC, this anthem will herald my introduction of my guest tonight, who has a lot to share with us. So just sit down, relax, call a friend to join us on this program, Ideas Exchange, on TVXYZ, or follow us on Facebook or YouTube while the anthem is playing. And by the time you come back, my guest will be smiling at you.
Patron of the land, for weather and seek your future. People of men are welcome from vision to be the NDC shall lead. Able Democrat, Ghana, our strength in unity from vision to be the NDC shall lead. Able Democrat, Ghana, our strength in unity. Ejo bana
And so you would know that anytime you hear this, wherever you are, even if you are sleeping, then it reminds you of either a campaign period or a major event being organized by the NDC. And of course, that is what they are doing. They are deciding and they are strategizing ahead of the 2024 elections. My guest is a strategist because he doesn't come across as a typical politician, a former deputy campaign manager, a former deputy chief of staff, a lawyer, a former minister of health, and a good communicator. Some of you may be magicians, or you are already aware of the person I'm going to introduce. He's called Alex Segbefia. Sometimes people think he's a doctor, and I did that today.
No, actually, thank you so much. But,
thank you.
I'm simply Mr. I'm a lawyer by profession.
Okay.
And people, because I was in the Ministry of Health, everybody says doctor, but I don't have a doctorate, and I'm not a medical doctor either. So Mr. is good for me.
So
or simply Alex.
Stay as a lawyer.
Yes.
Alex, you are welcome.
Thank you so much.
You look sweet.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
You don't look like somebody who has his hair being cut like mine.
I've refused to go to the barber because I don't know what's going to happen.
Of course. We'll talk about current affairs later. There are serious issues we'll have to talk about. But let's focus on the reason why you are here. The NDC is deciding this weekend you are electing your national youth and women organizers. Next weekend, the bigger picture will be unfolded. Now, it's been tough, I guess, because I got to know after a few visits to your headquarters that it is not an easy process managing internal elections of a political party.
No, not at all. And it's a challenging period, and it's a period of a strife and a period of forces pulling against each other, and friends staying away from each other and trying to get the eye or the nod from one group or the other. So they are very interesting periods. When you're in my position as, if I can put it that way, a referee, being in charge of actually putting the Congress together, it's quite interesting to see and also educative in terms of the lens to which people go to ensure that all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed to make sure that at the end of the day, they win. And more importantly, we try to do that as well, so that even when you lose, you don't have a reason to say that things were not done properly enough and that is what aided your defeat or otherwise. So interesting time, a lot of hard work, but we've been here before, and therefore we look forward to the elections from this Saturday, where the women and youth have their election in Cape Coast. And then the main Congress will take place next week at the Accra Sports Stadium.
Accra Sports Stadium. Now, the ongoing elections appear to be very competitive. From what I hear, the messages being shared on Facebook, some are seeking re-elections, new faces are coming up to contest certain positions and so on. Normally, when these things happen, it comes with suspicions, petitions, complaints, threats here and there, injunctions, for example. How have you managed to resolve them? And if there are outstanding ones going into Saturday's election and perhaps the bigger one on December 17, how is it being managed?
Sometimes very difficult. However, the beauty of internal elections as opposed to perhaps ones with opponents is that at the end of the day, you're dealing with your own. So at some point, consensus can be built. There are difficulties. People do all manner of things during elections. There are challenges. And this time round, we set up a petitions committee, which I chaired, and we tried to resolve many of the issues that occurred. You can't resolve everything, and at the end of the day, nobody's happy, but it's a first step, because it has never happened in this way in the NDC before, where people were able to come up with petitions and grievances. One of the things we have learned from the process is that putting the elections together closely doesn't give enough time for you to deal with some of the issues that you need to deal with. So this is looking forward. But I'm happy to say that we had successful branch elections, successful constituency elections, and also successful regional elections. So we are now poised to do the final phase of this round of elections, and now we are at the youth win-win on Saturday, and then the final Congress.
So how does those elections feed into the bigger ones, i.e. the national ones we are going to observe or witness on Saturday?
The constituency delegates vote at the national. The regional delegates vote at the national. So everybody has an eye on who are going to become constituency executives. And for you to know that, you have to have an eye.
So where is the interest? At the branch constituency level?
Every level.
Or every level?
Every level there's an interest.
What makes it interesting? Because when I look at the enthusiasm that is being witnessed at the various regional or constituency levels as candidates go around, it appears as if the euphoria is different from what may have been happening at the branch level.
Well, it's just more in your face, if I can put it that way. And you now have a more clustered group. But if you think about it, the branch elections are crucial, not only for our national, but for the flag bearership.
Okay.
Because they also vote in that. But they don't vote in our national. But whoever is going to be the constituency executives is dependent on your branch executives. So if you have an interest in those who are going to come and vote, you must take an interest in the branch. And for me, that is healthy. Because at the end of the day, you win or lose an election at the polling station. And that's for us, the branch. So if you do not get your branch executives in place properly, getting people who are enthusiastic, then you have a problem at the election. Because that is where the initial votes are counted. And so it's imperative as a political party that we've taken, if you noticed, we actually went for an outreach and put back Ashanti and Eastern for a while, had to go back and do a lot of work for the simple reason that we knew that we had to get our branches correct.
Now, I'm interested in this because I heard severally, if you look at what happened 2018, 2019, when the party was compiling a voters register, there was this perception that there had been some level of infiltration. And so the process of getting a new register now was a bit tighter. So when many people saw Ashanti, Eastern region, not traditionally NDC strongholds, there were a lot of eyebrows raised. Was it much about scrutinizing who was going to be on the register, or it was just a normal, simple process of making sure you strategize to get things done properly?
You cannot say you have branch executives in a polling station and get 0. At the very least, you should have 9 votes. That's your executives, they are NDC.
In total?
In total. Assuming nobody else voted for you in that branch, your executive should vote and you should have 9. So if you end up with 2 votes, or 3 votes, or 0, it begs the question whether they were NDC or not, or who actually are your executives. And we therefore realized that we hadn't spent enough time to actually scrutinize the nature of our executives in regions that are not traditionally our strongholds. You have the banter and the competition in other areas, but in the small sections of our branch regions that are not our stronghold, you actually have to go and make sure you fish out your people.
And you know who they are.
And you know who they are. And that was important for us in this process. It's not complete. It's work in progress, but we've come a long way from where we were before.
Now, how do you find a situation where it appears a lot more intellectuals, especially if you go to some of the regions, are showing interest in grabbing party positions? Is it a result of an attractive NDC today compared to, let's say, several years ago, or the party is now opening up and people are embracing the structures you have put in place?
It's a number of factors. I think one of the most important things, people are beginning to realize something that brought me into politics, that look, you can't sit on the sideline and expect anything to change.
Very instructive.
You really have to get involved. And it's a dirty business, it's murky. But the more of us who are prepared to get involved and work instead of sitting on the touchline means that the more you bring your expertise and intellect into an arena that needs it. If you're on the background always complaining about this, that, or the other, and what will change? Nothing will. So we've got to get all our people at different levels getting involved in the politics, at the branch level, into the constituency level, and beyond. So when we look at some of the people who are even now branch executives, when we look at the constituency executives, we have people with serious, if I can use the word, paper.
Yes, I saw a list which had names of professors, doctors, who are lecturers at institutions.
In dealing with it at the branch, the message has also said that we win and lose elections at the polling station. So people are more interested in the branch and what goes on. And then you have the experience and the expertise at the top end, where people have been involved and are doing a lot of politics. I just saw a picture of Shariaite, bless her.
Yes, of course. I'll be sharing some of those pictures before. So we actually went to the, sorry, Alex, we actually went to the party headquarters. And just to be fair to all the candidates, we took pictures from long shot. So you would see, as they will be shared from time to time on the screen, those vying for the positions. And then in the course of this conversation, we'll look at some specific strategic roles that people are competing for. National chairman, national organizer, that's general secretary, women's organizer, and then of course you have the youth organizers. I'll be sharing those ones with you shortly. But Saturday is all set, and what form will the election take?
Well, we have an opening ceremony. It's at the University of Cape Coast. We are expecting about 886 delegates for the women and 1,086 for the youth. So approximately just under 2,000 delegates involved.
Okay, is it possible you can, for the purpose
the elections
of
are
breaking down the kind of delegates, because I got to know that, for example, for the women, the female members of parliament will vote.
Yes.
And then some other groups. But
we have
the male MPs are not voting for the youth.
No.
What is the difference here?
Even though the definition of youth is a very large one, many of the male MPs...
Of course, I believe you and I are youth.
Of course,
yes, of course. You know, so let's go
on. As we go along.
Yes.
So for the youth, it's not as open in that regard.
Okay.
This is a gender requirement. So once you say women, it's very clear. The youth involves women.
Okay.
So the youth is actually a larger number because it's not a gender-based position. Whereas the women is. So in our constitution, we've allowed the all-female MPs to actually have a vote as to which women are going to lead them in for the next 4 years,
right?
Or in the women's wing. So they all vote, and we have the WUCOM, and we have also the delegates, the women organizers and their deputies from all the constituencies who come down to vote.
So the WUCOM will be the women commissioners.
That is correct.
Of the TAIN.
That is correct.
That's the tertiary education,
of the tertiary education
institution branch
yes.
of the party.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then you have the TAIN as well, but they vote in the youth section.
Okay.
So it's the youth section, you have TAIN voting. Because you can have members of TAIN that are female or male. There's no TAIN, it's youth. So
it looks complicated, isn't it?
It can be, because the tertiary institutions have increased quite a bit. And so actually getting the names, and because they don't stay for long, most of them are in office for 1 year, maximum 2, and then they've left the campus. So whereas we look at the tenure of our officers for a 4-year period, the people who vote possibly vote once or twice maximum.
And they leave
and then they leave, and then you have a new set. So there's always this constant need to cultivate people that are in the WUCOMs and the TAINs, because you can't say, oh, I know these people and they will be voting for me. Or
which means there's even another bigger picture of another effort to be sure that the people who represent as TAIN members are genuine members of your party.
There is that. And you have to, the constant in that is most of the patrons are constant, because the patrons tend to be lecturers, and they therefore are able to give us information as to who is this. And the youth wing of our party monitors the tertiary institutions.
Right.
As well as the problem, and it's a real problem we will start looking at, is the numbers. Because you have youth and youth organizers and their deputies, and the moment you start putting in the tertiary institutions, because of the influx of a lot of tertiary institutions being involved, if you're not careful, you get to the point where they will start outnumbering the actual
people
politicians
who have been with the party
exactly,
and are core executive members. Because I understand that for the youth leadership position, you have the national youth organizer, the 2 deputies, so for the regions, and then so for the constituencies, and all of them are supposed to be part of the delegates forming the 1,080 plus. Now, what I would do while the conversation is going on is that I have the list, not the pictures, of the youth and women organizers and their deputies. They will appear on the screen, and you just read along if you have time. I'll later mention the names of the candidates. So you see that we have Margaret Ansei, we have Dr. Louisa Hanabisu. The 2 of them are going for women organizer position. And then if you look at the youth organizer position, let me go to the deputy first. The deputies, we have Hajia Alijata Sulemana, Abigail Akwabia Elom Mensah, Jesse Adams, and Felicia Jifa Tega. Youth organizer, we have only 2, George Opariado, who is incumbent, Hanabisu is incumbent, and then you have Broja Jemfi, who contested him in the previous elections, and they are going for round 2 of the battle. And then we have 2 contesting for the women organizers. And the deputy organizers, we have 1, 2, up to 10 people who are contesting for the deputy youth organizer position. So in this case, how many people will be taken from the deputy list as deputy organizers for the party? 2. So of the 10, the 2 who get the highest will be the candidates.
That's correct.
It sounds interesting, isn't it? And it's very tricky.
It's an interesting period, and it's like any election, but in this case, you'll find there'll be a lot of celebration, and there's going to be a lot of commiseration.
Now, how does the party feel about the competitiveness of the election? Is it what you see as efforts by aspirants or candidates which eventually is rejuvenating the party or re-energizing the party through the activism or their campaigns, or you see that as a potential threat if your office does not manage it well?
A bit of both. The truth of the matter is that you don't want the campaign to degenerate into insults, innuendos, fisticuffs, etc. So you want to ensure that you have an open field, that if people are unhappy about things, they can bring it to the center. We have a planning committee made up of quite a few with a lot of subcommittees. And so if there are issues, they can be brought to the fore and dealt with. And that is making sure that the election, and you always have differences. Also, as we've gone along over the years, one of the things that has become very prominent in our election cycle in the last, say, 20 years, increasingly, is social media. And that is very difficult to control. So games are played and things are said on social media. We are more concerned about what the aspirants say. And
do you have an adjudication committee where complaints against people who are trying to provoke the system, abusing the rules of engagement you have put in place?
It comes to the main planning committee, and we look at it or decide whether we need a group to go and look at any particular point. But most of the time, it's more to just deal a phone call or whatever. Look, calm down.
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Now, at this stage, and my guest is Alex Segbefia. He's the deputy chair of the NDC Congress Committee. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes.
Right. A former deputy chief of staff, a former deputy campaign manager, is a lawyer, is not a medical doctor, of course, a former health minister. What I'll do at this stage is to share with you some images of 4 key positions for this moment. Now, what you see on the screen will be one set of the aspirants, I think the women organizers. So you see Margaret Ansei, who is contesting Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisu. So the 2 of them are the only candidates for the women organizer position. So this Saturday, one of them will be elected as the NDC's women's organizer. Then from there, we'll move to the youth organizer positions. And for the youth organizer, that's not the youth organizer positions. For the youth organizer positions, you see 2 people. So if you can withdraw this picture, we have George Opariado and Broja Jemfi. And so when you are ready, just alert me so that I can continue the process. So for the youth organizers, we have 2, Broja Jemfi and George Opariado. So this one too, you see an incumbent being contested by another candidate. And then they also have 10 deputies, as I said. And so, producers, if you are ready, okay, so I'm told the pictures will be ready soon. And as soon as they are ready, I'll come to you. What we will do at this stage is to take a short break, because what I know is that the former president is soliciting for funds to fund your campaign. And what I saw in a Facebook post was that he's trying to target about 500,000 willing Ghanaians ready to donate a minimum of 10 cedis. We have a Momo account which has been shared, and at the same time, he has a certain bank number, a bank account, which is in the name of the National Democratic Congress. I'll just play for you exactly the message John Mahama has for you. After that, you come back to the studio, and then I'm sure at that time, I'll show you the pictures and the conversation will continue.
The National Democratic Congress would hold its 10th National Delegates Congress on the 17th of December 2022 to elect a new set of national executives for the party. In all, about 9,000 constituency, regional, and national executives who are accredited delegates to the Congress will be transported to Accra and accommodated. The party needs your support to fund this Congress. I'm inviting 500,000 willing Ghanaians, NDC supporters, sympathizers, and friends to donate a minimum of 10 Ghana cedis each to help us fund the Congress. You don't have to be a member of the NDC to donate. Please donate via Momo number 059-860-4199 or pay into the NDC Congress account at the GCB Bank, and the account number is 139113000837. If you want to arrange other forms of support, please send me an email, office@johnmahama.org. I thank you very much in advance for your support. The 10th National Delegates Congress of the NDC. Rallying for Victory 2024, Ghana's Hope, Ghana's Rescue.
Welcome back. So my guest is Alex Segbefia. He's the Deputy Chair in charge of the NDC's National Congress Planning Committee. We are looking at the NDC's preparedness towards their last two legs of the election processes. This weekend, they are electing the youth and women organizers, and then December 17 will be the biggest of all the conferences. I've just shared with you Margaret Ansay, Dr. Louisa Hanabisu. If any of the pictures are available, just share with me. Let me walk our viewers through who is contesting. So you would notice that we have about 7 people.
No, this is different.
Yes, 7 people contesting the national organizer position. So the 7 people you see there, Chief Baini, Joseph Yamin, Solomon, in Kansa, we have the other names there. Let me see if I have them here. The national organizer. Okay, so we have Henry Osai Koto, then we have Sibik, and then I think Sibik's picture has been repeated twice. So you can take them off. I think there was a little production challenge. And then we also have the General Secretary position of the party. And so you will see what they will share with you as Peter Buama Otukono, Elvis Afriye Ankra, and then we have Fifi Fiavi Kwete. So these 3 are contesting for the General Secretary position of the party. So all of them look like very well-known faces of the NDC, very articulate, very hardworking. And so it will be interesting to watch how the election will go on December 17. And the head of the party is the chairmanship position, 2 giants. And so you have 2 giants in the middle, Johnson Asiedun Ketia, Samuel Sampofo. Then we have Ni Ama Ashite, a former Minister of State, and of course Samuel Yao Eduse. So you have these faces who will be coming to your homes through the television sets, on social media, or if you're a party member, they'll be engaging you along the line. Now, Doc.
No, Doc.
Sorry, Alex. Sorry, maybe...
Don't worry.
Don't worry.
It's an easy mistake.
Maybe it's old age too.
Don't worry.
All right. So Alex is with me in the studio. Alex, we've just spoken at length about the the youth women organizer positions. Now let's look at December 17.
Yeah.
How will the election look like? What form will it take? Will all of them be voting at the same time? Would you make a lot of polling booths available to finish the process?
First, let me indicate that all the ballot papers have been printed for the women and youth.
All the ballot
Yes,
papers.
and they have been sealed with agents of all the representatives present, for the majority of them, and they are in the custody of the EC.
Right.
And they were there to supervise the printing of the ballot sheets. We are now in the process of printing the ballots for the 17th, the main one. The main Congress, we are also alive to time. So for the first time, we are actually having 17 separate voting centers made up of 10 booths.
But there are 16 regions. Why 17?
Because we are going to, some are smaller. We are not looking at the regions. We are looking at numbers.
Okay.
So, for example, the three biggest are Greater Accra, Ashanti, and Eastern. So you might even give each of them 2 or 3 each. And some can have actually be put together. From say the Upper East and
Upper East, Upper West,
and then
or
have
maybe
one,
Savannah region. Some of them have been smaller.
So you can work it a Hafo with another Bono, and so on and so forth on Bono East. So we can do that, but to ensure that we finish in an appropriate time, we haven't increased it. We were going to look at 13. We've now gone to 17 to ensure that people can vote and finish early.
When do you hope to finish the voting process?
We have an opening ceremony. And we want to start the program by 10, latest 10:30.
Okay.
But by 10:30, we want to start our program. And once the program begins, we are hoping that the opening ceremony will not go beyond 2 hours. So we are hoping that 12:30, we will finish the opening ceremony.
So the opening ceremony is what comes across with the solidarity messages,
exactly,
messages perhaps from some selected members.
Certain things we have to do in Congress.
Okay.
So we have to have a welcome address. You have to have the roll call of the regions. You have to have the solidarity messages. You have to have the chairman of the party, Ofuswampo, will also say a few words. The general secretary will give a report at some point. The treasurer has to also give a report. So there are certain things we have to deal with. And then there's also possibly some constitutional amendments we may also have
adopted or
yes,
reviewed.
Yes, reviewed, a few non-contentious issues. So we are hoping that that can be done in the space of 2 hours. And obviously the former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, will also speak. So we are hoping that we can put that all in a 2-hour spell, and then once that is over, we move straight into phase 2, which is bringing the EC. We hand over, the Electoral Committee hands over to the Electoral Commission, and then we go into the voting segment.
So Accra Sports Stadium is huge.
Yes.
Who enters? Who stays out? Only delegates, because sometimes you see party members who feel so much eager to witness proceedings, but they are kept at bay.
There are a section of the stands where normal,
ordinary people can be allowed in,
and our supporters can go in,
and they don't need
have
accreditation for that.
The other sides and cannot come onto.
So it will be like how we witnessed it at Gomua Fete, where a section was cordoned off,
sort of.
So you can stay in the stands and observe.
Yes.
And so there will be a lot of euphoria within the space, isn't it?
There will be energy.
Energy.
Yes, there will be energy.
Energy goes with security arrangements.
There is a lot of security arrangements in place. We are in touch with the police. We are in touch with our people who are going to assist us as well. We are talking to all parties. That is one of the major things we look at in such an organization.
And you are confident?
We are expecting... for delegates alone, close to 9,800, 9,000, which gives you, let's say, a rough idea of 10,000. By the time you add other people and other things, you're close to 12,000 people in the stadium. But this, I believe, is a 45,000-seater stadium.
Capacity.
So, something like that. So actually, we need a third of it to house our delegates and our people, and then you need the other bits.
When I
for
came to the
observers,
party headquarters today, I read, or I may have eavesdropped, that the delegates are arriving on Friday.
That's correct.
For Saturday, I'm talking about December 17.
Yes, they will arrive on the 16th.
That's the Friday night.
Yes, and they will all be sleeping in Legon.
Okay.
They'll all become university students all of a sudden, and we'll all be at this.
And that is when the campaigns and the...
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
So we are talking about Congress Village.
Now, let's move away from the Congress Village and all those things. This big book, because I'm looking at the next 20 minutes just before the end of the hour to talk about current affairs issues. This book looks very attractive, well packaged, and it's huge.
Yeah.
What is this book about?
Well, as it says, it's our administrative history, and it's from June 1992 right up to December 2012.
June 1992.
Yes.
It's quite huge.
Yes. So it's 20 years of our 92 to 2002.
And who compiled it, and what really is in this book?
Well, it was compiled by our librarian called Israel, but it's all our works and our letters and statements made throughout the history of the party. So in effect, it's the history of the party between 1992 and 2012. This is part one. So somewhere along the line, we'll get 2013 up onto 2022.
So this one is from 1992 to 2012?
Yes.
Wow.
So this is the first one. But it is possible that the second one will take, say, 6 years. And then you leave it a little time and then you do another.
What makes this book attractive to a politician or a political historian or a student politician in Ghana?
You should get one. There's a lot.
I hope you get one for me.
Consider it done.
Okay.
The amount of history that comes with this book, if you really want to know what happened, where did the NDC come from, what were the challenges, what were the difficulties, if you want to form a political party, buy this book. It gives you a certain insight into...
But are you not opening up your strategies?
No.
It's history.
Why? Even official secrets are released ever so many years by this thing, the archive for this thing. But because you must learn from your mistakes. If you don't learn, you always put everything on the armpit, then how do you learn? So it must come out.
So the reason why I'm asking these questions as if I'm interjecting is that for me or any person who may be interested in politics, or an NDC member who perhaps just joined the party, some have joined because maybe 2 years ago, a year ago, they were calling themselves floating voters. They are towing the middle line. But maybe along the process, they see one political party very attractive. So because of that, they want to read about the political history. Is that the significant issue about this book, or perhaps it was just put down for whoever is interested to get?
Well, I think that you have to understand that a lot of people nowadays join a political party. Many people in the NDC today, the majority, because the youth are the majority, don't even understand
where the party
came from and what we have been through. They have heard snippets, but many of us lived it, so we know it. But reading snippets, if you really want to understand what it took, the administrative side, how the thought process, you need this. And it will help us with our ideology and our party history. Because technically, you have to, if you want to know where you are going, you need to know where you are coming from. If not, if you are not sure where you are going, then any road will take you there. So that is why this is significant.
So where will this be available?
It will tune your mind.
Okay.
And it is at the party headquarters. It is 1,000 Ghana cedis flat. If you have 1,000 Ghana cedis, you come to the party headquarters, you ask for the librarian, and on the library.
But why should I travel all the way to the party headquarters when, for example, this weekend you are going to Cape Coast to organize an event? Would you be busing
there will be some of these books there. There will be some of the books also at the stadium. So anybody who wants to get at the stadium, fine. You can make contact with most of our leaders. They can arrange for it to be delivered to you once you have the money and you are able to pay.
Would you be putting these books on the shelves at tertiary institutions, for example, their political science departments, where maybe students want to buy, or maybe any ordinary library?
We are hoping that we'll get to that stage. We are hoping that maybe in a number of years from now, we will then move it into the position of a soft
copy, that's the soft version.
But not for now. We think that the book is important. It's like any book that you put in the bookshop. First, they do the hardback, then they do the softback, then eventually you can get it online.
But this is huge. Maybe the weight of the book itself may scare people from, or will rather attract people. But I like the cover page, very well packaged, and the thought behind this looks quite interesting.
Well, it's actually a research document, and I would say to people, you're not buying 20 of them around your house. It's one book, possibly the biggest book you may have in your repertoire, in your library. Buy it. Put it in your library.
Now, let's wrap up and then speak to other issues.
Before you do that, can I once again just repeat the Momo number?
Okay.
For funds for...
but somebody will be surprised that NDC is asking for funds 2 weeks into your final process of electing your people. Is it not too late?
No, I think that is actually at the appropriate time. It's not a situation where we are asking for money just in the air. We are asking for the money for a specific purpose.
Project.
Yes, Congress. So it has come at the time where whatever you have, do the donation. 5 cedis, 10 cedis, 20 cedis, 100 cedis, even if more, do so. So for me, I don't buy into that. I buy into the fact that it is not a scam. We want it for Congress. We are going to be asking for this money for now. Congress. So please, those that can contribute and want to contribute, the number is 059 860 4199. 059 860 4199. And there's a bank account to go with it.
All right. I want us to come back and speak to other issues.
Sure.
I want you to look into the camera and speak to delegates particularly, speak to candidates particularly as they walk into the elections on Saturday and next weekend.
Well, I think that the whole world is watching you because everybody knows that the future of Ghana as a country lies with the National Democratic Congress. Therefore, I say to you delegates, go and do the right thing for Mother Ghana. Comport yourselves, attend the Congress on time. Let us demonstrate to all that we are ready to move forward and are in a position to govern. More importantly, between now and the end of the program, we ask all our aspirants, both for the women and youth and for the main Congress, to be circumspect as most of them have been in terms of the way they campaign and the messages they put out. It's more about what you're going to do for us as a party and less about what your opponent can or may not have done. That is the message we have for you. And for us at the planning committee, we wish all the aspirants well in this Congress. When it is all over, there's only going to be one winner, and that is, in fact, 2 winners. That is the NDC and then subsequently Ghana.
So that was Alex Segbefia, the deputy chair of the NDC's
Congress
Planning Committee. We'll be taking a break. Maybe my producers, if they can help, share the Momo account through the message from the former president. We'll take some recognition of our sponsors. And then when we come back, we'll talk about Ghana, not NDC again. I'm sure there are issues burning, and you want to hear what Alex would say as far as that's concerned.
The National Democratic Congress would hold its 10th National Delegates Congress on the 17th of December 2022 to elect a new set of national executives for the party. In all, about 9,000 constituency, regional, and national executives who are accredited delegates to the Congress will be transported to Accra and accommodated. The party needs your support to fund this Congress. I'm inviting 500,000 willing Ghanaians, NDC supporters, sympathizers, and friends to donate a minimum of 10 Ghana cedis each to help us fund the Congress. You don't have to be a member of the NDC to donate. Please donate via Momo number 059-860-4199 or pay into the NDC Congress account at the GCB Bank, and the account number is 13911300000837. If you want to arrange other forms of support, please send me an email, office@johnmahama.org. I thank you very much in advance for your support. The 10th National Delegates Congress of the NDC. Rallying for Victory 2024, Ghana's Hope, Ghana's Rescue.
Welcome to the Royal Dazzle Event Center. With a lush and well-maintained lawn and garden, you are assured of the best serene and comfortable atmosphere to organize all your family and social events. Live the royal moments here with friends and family. The hosting capacity of 600 to 800 people makes Royal Dazzle the most versatile of places to host weddings, parties, funerals, conferences, concerts, and many more. Create your memories with us. Call us for inquiries on 055-814-8585 or 024-620-2144, or pass by and speak to any of our friendly staff. Locate us at My John, close to Zoom Lion headquarters. Royal Dazzle Event Center, creating memories.
Welcome back. This is TVXYZ, and the program is Ideas Exchange. Of course, we on this platform, what we do is have conversations about issues of interest to you. The first part has been about the NDC's journey towards 2024 election of new executives. This weekend, as we told you earlier, they are going to Cape Coast, the UCC main auditorium. That's what we are getting, where they'll be electing their youth and women organizers and their deputies. Then December 17, for those of us in Accra, if you have time, just spend time around the Accra Sports Stadium and then just have a feel of the energy around the NDC when they come in their numbers from all over the country to come and have a chat. Now, you have the diaspora groups, you have other bodies within the party. Would they be voting on December 17?
Yes, those that have had their elections will vote.
Okay.
And they have delegates' rights up to 15.
Okay.
And those that can't still have observer status, so they can come and be part of
now, all what you are doing is narrowing on a certain objective your party has.
Yes.
Win 2024.
Yes.
Now, we sit in a country where a lot of people are too much very worried about what is going on. Now, when you sit back as somebody who has been a deputy chief of staff, a former minister of state, somebody who has been very active in a government that has just been taken over by what we are experiencing today, how do you feel about governance, perceptions, and politics generally?
The first statement I'll make, which must be said, is that the MPP has failed Ghanaians. The failure is so huge that one cannot even begin to fathom how we got where we are. The second thing is that we don't have, apart from the failure, we don't have a listening government. They've just refused to listen. Any advice you give, just thrown. Eventually you come back to the same thing people have been talking about. Don't do e-levy. Oh, we'll do it. Go to the IMF early. Oh, we won't go. Here we all are. We've said to you, this is a confidence boosting thing. Reshuffle. make some changes. Let people begin to believe that you really mean business. Oh, at the point you do it, it will be insignificant. It's already become, even if you do anything now, it doesn't mean anything.
The excitement is gone.
It's the effect of instant action, where people will say, they really mean business. It's gone. It's gone. We've lost it. So when you look at it from that perspective, it has just ceased to be a situation of NDC is looking as a politician to come and win it. Like, no. We are Ghana's only hope. That's why when you look at our theme for the Congress, it's rallying for victory 2024. Ghana's hope. Because that's what everybody now has. And therefore, it has put us under actual pressure. If you are serious about it, you already begin to feel the pressure. Because the mess that has been created, there's no area of our governance structure that you don't need to touch. We have problem in agric. We have problem in mining. We have problem with water. We have problem with food. We have problem with health. We have problem with employment. I can go on.
Education.
On and on and on. Education is there for all to see. And simple advice, I remember when this free SHS thing came out, but it's a constitutional requirement. So we clap for you want to do it all at it. The finance minister himself said it should be on the basis of let's see who can pay. His own people came after him. And he backtracked. Here we are today.
Do you see the MPP we knew perhaps under Kufuor as a weakened party, unable to stamp its feet to protect its image because they can't speak to Akufo-Addo, or an MPP led by people who are simply pleasing the president and carrying his wishes? From where you sit.
We have gone minimum 30 years backwards with the type of governance that we have seen under this current government. It makes President Kufuor look like the Pope and John Mahama like Angel Gabriel in terms of governance. It is bad. I don't know who is advising, who is looking at things, who is being listened to, who is not. It is bad. And it doesn't seem as if there's even cohesion amongst them. How can you let a president come out and say that I will build 88 hospitals in 12 months? Hello? I'm health minister. 88 hospitals in 12 months. I'll chew my hat.
Is it because you have been a health minister?
It is not feasible. It's not private sector.
But he said it, and with pride, his supporters
by
were
the time the
it.
1 year was up, we had changed the story.
111.
It was now 111 in 18 months. Meanwhile, one wasn't on the ground yet. And as we speak, we haven't got one yet.
Completed.
No. There's no completed hospital of the 111.
Anytime I drive past the Labadi, that's the former General Hospital, I feel for those who were feeding around businesses associated with the hospital operation.
The same president, after doing this, that one was a party political gimmick. So why come and do the 111 after you have won anyway? You've done it. Nothing. You now come and tell all of us that there is going to be no haircut. Within 12 hours, the following morning, now Kojo Oppong Nkrumah was now telling us what you meant. He's a scholar of English, speaks well, like me. You. He doesn't know what he was saying. He said there was no haircut. And now, after looking at it, we now have others the finance minister has now come to tell us how it's going to work. I cringe. Is this the MPP that told us they will never borrow? That the money is in Ghana? That they will toll all the roads to build our roads? That our president was incompetent? That we will never go to the IMF again? This was the last. They have come out. And all these problems are now COVID and Russia and Ukraine. Okay. It is COVID that came into our finance ministry and borrowed for us. It is Russia. The missile found its way to come and borrow money for Ghana. It's the debt problem. That's what we have. It has been magnified.
Couldn't it be that they borrowed for the processes of the challenge associated
before COVID, the World Bank told us that we were in trouble. Before COVID, they told us that our borrowing, we are in trouble.
And that was denied.
And that was denied. Here we are. All that has happened is that COVID and possibly Russia has accelerated what was on its way. That's all it has done.
So let me ask this question. I tried to find out from others what could be going through the mindset of people who may have brought us this far. Now, I'm asking this question specifically because of the role you played in a previous government as a deputy chief of staff. When the president has been briefed and all those things have been put together, what could lead to a chief of staff, his deputies, council of state, at least if the cabinet will fail because they are appointees, equally like those people, but at least they are the higher level working with the president in the same office. What could stop them or otherwise from asking the president that, look, pull a break? Because it appears everything, even in this current budget, they have brought back a request for 80 million cedis for the National Cathedral project, in spite of all the complaints, all the cry. What could be the reason?
You know, I cannot explain it because I don't have that thought process. If perhaps, and we all have different thought processes, but we like to think that they are all within a certain sphere. But this one is beyond the sphere that I can even begin to say I'm going to think about it, because it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Nobody cares about the Ghanaian, the ordinary Ghanaian. It's what can I get for myself now, and that is it. Think about it. At the time people were screaming about the presidential jet flights, we were already in a mess. Oh. Did somebody care about the significance?
The luxury jet flights.
That's those luxury. I mean, when you think about it in light of what is happening now, you ask yourself, I mean, what were you thinking? How can you spend money like that? I'm lost for words. I'm trying to comprehend, but my thought process won't allow me. Because you see, when you reach that level, you lack nothing. Your name is written in the history books, whether for good or bad, is there. So the least you can do before you leave that position is to make a mark to say that you helped Ghanaians. Or what is this? I mean, MPP, is this what they have to offer for us? This is the leadership. And people are talking like, so it's not just about, it's MPP. Nobody is standing up to say to what is going on is unacceptable.
Is this scary for an NDC which is optimistic it will win 2024 elections?
It is not scary insofar as the whole government bringing things out of a hole we have done before. The depth of this hole is the problem, but we will do it. We have no doubt in our minds that you can fix Ghana. A lot of it is about perception and sacrifice. One, you have to allow people to believe that we are in the same boat with you. Your suffering is my suffering. So let us all pull through. Look, we had Rawlings Chain in 1983.
Right.
People were going around, we were all struggling, we didn't have petrol. You know the difference When you looked on the telly, you saw Rollins. He was in a Pins Gona and a singlet. He was carrying cocoa. So you knew that, look, Ahianyo, it's not good for me. But he too, it's not good for him.
So it is almost like slash the size of your government, which is not being done, which is giving. But Ghanaians appears to be quite weak. When Martin Pegu called for demonstration, people didn't come up.
Listen, it's not, there is a certain vindictive nature that people are also afraid of. Why? There's a history. The media people who wanted to talk about it early, where are they today? They were hounded. So people in the media, they go so far, they stop. They go so far, they stop. Our clergy has been gone into silence. Everybody is just like, oh. Why? Speak truth. It is not working. It is not right. And the things you are doing were things that you criticize others vehemently. They didn't even do quarter of what you have done. So where are we going?
Well, on this note, where are we going? I would want to end. I wished we could extend this, but another time, perhaps after the December 17 Congress, I'll bring Doc here. Sorry, I'll pay.
Alex, don't worry.
I'm sure you must have seen a flyer somewhere, and you understand why I'm saying.
If you want to make a mistake, call me Professor. Why are you calling me Doc only?
Okay.
Raise it up.
Okay, So Alex Egbefia is a former deputy chief of staff, a former deputy campaign manager. Was it for John Mahama or Atamils? Atamils.
Campaign manager.
And then he's a former health minister. He is a lawyer. And of course, I will add that he's an academician. I've told you he doesn't look like a politician. And Ghanaians from both sides admire him because of how he communicates, a good communicator. And I believe that you have not regretted following us. I will leave you with this administrative.
Before you go, I just
history.
want to make one comment,
Okay.
if you allow me.
Right.
Notwithstanding everything I've said, I want everybody to know that there is hope for Ghana. Ghana is not, we have the wrong set of people at the moment. That is true. But there is hope for Ghana. From now, just think NDC. Vote NDC. Push NDC. And you will see a difference.
So I leave you with this book. I'm sure it will be on the screen so that you can look at the title. It is called the Administrative History of the National Democratic Congress, June 1992 to December 2012. So that is the book, very heavy. I'm told copies will be available wherever you see the NDC gathered or you go to the headquarters. And that's how I end the program tonight. So, Alex,
thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I wish to be like you in future.
We are the same age.
I'm saying I wish to be like you in future. You don't know which of the wishes I have for myself.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So that's how we end the program.
In other words, you have only one wife. Because
Yes.
you have about 4 now.
No, I have. That's how we are ending the program. Take the smile to your bed. Let's meet again next week. My name is Ahianyo. Bye for now.